white guy with glasses making puns while they're trying to watch it.
Oh, we love you, Zoran.
Please proceed, Governor.
Hey guys, my name's Dan, and this reaction comes from Dead Meat. This is Until Dawn Kill Count Games, and I love that he's covering this, because this is the game that really sparked my love for games where you make decisions, and based off those decisions, they have consequences. And since you have so many different characters to choose from and play, you can basically direct your own movie. And if you want to make sure that you can save everybody, you can. If you don't want to save anybody, you want to kill certain people, whatever, there's always certain events in the game that could kill, like, literally every character. So, if you want to play it straight up and try to save everybody at first, you can do that. There's, like, so much replayability here, which is always fun. And then, of course, this really sparked the beginning of all the Dark Pictures stuff. All the little mini games, like, not mini games, well, mini in comparison to this, like Man and Medan. I think that was the first one that they did. There's House of Ashes, and there's quite a few others. But this is really something that really sparked my love for it. Obviously, really into horror anyway, so it was right up my alley. Lots of good stuff. And I can't wait to talk more about it. But before we get into it, though, please check all of those links I have for you down in the description below. More specifically, Dead Meat's link. If you haven't already, it's a great way to support the entire Dead Meat team. And a great and easy way to support me is to go right below this video, click all of those buttons down there. Because now I'm glad to see future reactions that I do, but it also helps my channel to grow. And without any further ado, let's go.
Welcome to the Kill Count, where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror video games and show you how they were made. I'm Zoran.
Oh! Yeah!
Totally awesome Gavoyage! And today we are taking a look at Until Dawn, originally released in 2015 before being remade in 2024. Until Dawn is a third-person choose-your-own-adventure style game that provides a different story each time you play based on the choices you make. It's similar to games like non-indie darling Life is Strange,
Life is Strange,
Telltale's The Walking Dead, and Quantic Dream's Heavy Rain, the game that puts the X before Jason.
Jason!
It's less running and gunning and more walking and picking dialogue options. And when I say walking, oh seriously, there is so much walking. You might hit your step goals just by watching.
Lots of places to explore.
Rather than one central protagonist, Until Dawn's perspective shifts between 8 different characters. They're members of a high school friend group, reuniting at a mountain lodge 1 year after a tragedy, and the whole thing plays out like an interactive horror movie. But while it's a classic slasher setup, the game's story constantly switches into different subgenres, with elements of the supernatural, folk horror, and even torture porn. Until Dawn started life back in 2008 under PlayStation developer London Studio, before being taken over by Supermassive Games in 2010. Back then, it was being developed for the PS3's PlayStation Move controller, Sony's version of the Nintendo Wii. The game was more of a traditional slasher back then, with a first-person perspective and co-op mode. And despite positive reception at 2012's Gamescom, the general consensus was that no one really wanted to buy a Move controller to play it.
Nope.
Yeah, try explaining to your mom that this is not a sex.
Yeah, for real.
The game eventually switched platforms to the PS4, so Supermassive completely overhauled the game into the third-person cinematic experience that we know today. With the shift in perspective, Supermassive decided to cast more well-known actors in the game, using motion capture for their performances and modeling the characters after them. It's a technique the studio would use again, with big-name actors appearing in future titles like the Dark Pictures anthology and The Quarry.
Oh, The Quarry!
Hackett's Quarry.
I don't think she wants to know about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
Can we just please stop saying the Hag of Hackett's Quarry?
Sony wasn't exactly confident in the project, but the game ended up being a sleeper hit, thanks in part to its embrace by the Let's Play community. And it was popular enough to warrant multiple spin-offs, a film adaptation, kind of, and a remake for the PS5 and PC. Made by former Supermassive members over at Ballistic Moon, reception to the remake has been mixed at best.
Oh, that
Aside from
sucks.
some new interactables.
So, just for full transparency, I haven't played the remake. I only played the original. Played it a lot, but only that.
Explorable areas, and an extra after the credit scene, it's pretty much the same game, but with more bugs and a AAA price tag. However, one thing the remake does have going for it is its fancy new graphics, provided by Unreal Engine 5. Seriously, this thing is beautiful, and it's one of the reasons we'll be using it for the count.
Okay.
So what do I say to people who ask how I'm going to kill count a game with technically hundreds of different endings and death options? Well, First, I ask them to put my son down
Oh!
and get out of my house.
Oh!
And then as the police escort them away, I let them know that I'll be kill counting my specific playthrough of the game.
Okay.
So, per kill count game rules, I'll be counting every dead thing I find. Then I'll be comparing my playthrough with the most and least deaths possible. Oh, and since player deaths are permadeaths in this game, I'm going to replace the Royal Reload Award with the Butchered Butterfly.
I
and
love
go to
that.
the coolest player death that could have been. So without
Okay.
further ado, let's...
Oh.
Ooh, totally forgot. Got therapy today.
Oh, therapy session.
You've decided to commence with this kill count.
What was that?
Well, before we get to the kills, let's try a little exercise. Tell me, what does this make you think of?
Sock Talk.
Ah, today's sponsor, ZocDoc.
Hey, I was right.
Good. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. And that's across every specialty: primary care, dental, mental health. Perhaps you could
I like that little zoom in.
ZocDoc when finding a therapist. After all, you could have filtered from over 100,000 doctors and checked how well they're rated by verified patients.
Ooh.
But it's fine. You have me instead, and I'm sure that choice won't affect things.
Ooh, butterfly effect.
Anyway, at least I was available soon, right? So many.
This has to be
people
one of my
have to
favorite
wait
ad reads.
Weeks, months. Of course, with ZocDoc, you can see actual appointment openings and instantly book appointments, often within the next 24 to 72 hours. Didn't know that, did you? I guess you didn't do enough investigating. If you had, perhaps you could finally stop putting off all those doctor appointments, especially by going to ZocDoc.com/killcount to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/killcount. ZocDoc.com/killcount. What's that? What is my accent? I don't know.
At least he admits it.
How many teens will be dead before dawn at the whim of my dialogue choices? Let's find out and get to the kills.
For me, my first playthrough, everybody but two.
The game begins in familiar territory. A cabin in the woods, a lone girl, and a machete-wielding mystery man. But it's actually a confrontation with a deer that teaches us one of the game's core mechanics: holding still. That's fun. A leftover feature designed to make use of the PlayStation Move controller, it was revamped for this remake, with additional options for platforms without motion controllers. But I have a DualShock, and with it, we successfully keep the white bar in the outline, which lets us
Yay.
pet Alan Dracula. His fancy lodge on the fictional Blackwood Mountain is owned by the Washington family, which includes twin sisters Beth and Hannah and their sloppy, drunk older brother Josh. Both Hannah and Beth were played by Antonella Lentini, who some may recognize as Francesca from the Wizards of Waverly Place-averse. The kids are hosting an annual parent-free high school party. Ooh, and it looks like Hannah might get lucky tonight, since she just found a love letter from popular boy Mike. But it's actually a cruel prank orchestrated by Mike's girlfriend, Emily, who doesn't take kindly to Hannah crushing on her man. Mike has reservations about what they're doing, but ultimately Hannah's best friend Sam is the only one to object to the prank. In a montage set to In for the Kill by Lucy Hayes, Hannah gets ready for a secret meetup with Mike, not knowing the group will be waiting for her. This extended sequence is one of the few major changes from the original game, and was added to help flesh out the characters. I mean, it's super well edited and fun to watch people hide from Chris Walker. Oh, and look, Emily's doing her Chandler impression.
I'm Chandler.
Hannah arrives and Mike tries his best to act like he's into this.
Maybe we should start with a little, making out and see where it goes from there.
But before this Superman can kiss her on her digitally mustache-removed lips, Sam Snell interrupts to warn Hannah to not show any more shoulder. But it doesn't spare her from a Carrie White camera flash. As everyone sees that the Kittner kid's getting eaten by Jaws, a humiliated Hannah runs off into the woods.
Just a prank
Sister Beth
hand.
tries to wake up Josh, just in case, some kills need to be counted.
Wrong Josh, toots.
Oh!
That'll be toots. But Mr. Robot's powered down for the evening, so she heads outside to find her sister, but instead finds a shittier cabin in the woods.
Ah!
but a Fortnite fire trap sends her back out to Polar Peak. With the help of some player input, Beth runs away and is reunited with her sister. But the twins aren't alone. An unseen assailant with Predator or Terminator-like vision chases them to the edge of a cliff. And Hannah's disappearing face freaks out Beth so much it sends them over the edge. That masked mystery man from earlier appears to reach for them, but I decided to...
Let go!
Oh, wow, that looked pretty rough. But
Yes,
I'm
it
gonna
was.
hold off on a kill graphic for reasons I'll get to later.
Yep.
But for now, ladies and
Okay
gentlemen,
with that.
Mr. Peter Stormare. He's playing Dr. A.J. Hill, a psychiatrist treating a first-person patient. Wait, is that Richard Fenton, or is it supposed to be us?
I want you to remember this as you play your game. Every single choice will affect your fate and the fate of those around you.
Certainly sounds like us. And it's great to see Peter Stormare again, since last time we saw him on the kill count, he was becoming Compy Chow in the Lost World. Dr.
nom.
Hill tells us we're out of time for this session, but don't worry, we've got plenty of time for this
Title card.
We now come to a very controversial change in the remaster, as the original game's credits featured a cover of the folk song "Oh Death" by Amy Van Roykel, while the new overhauled opening is set to Out of the Shadows, an original song recorded for the game by English pop singer Mae Stevens. And while I do like the Mae Stevens song, I'm more in the "Oh Death" camp on this one. The new song, alongside the projection visuals, make this feel less horror and more like a Bond movie, which makes sense since a majority of the motion capture took place at Pinewood Studios, the same studios used to film the Bond movies.
That's
The
neat.
requisite shining shot takes us back to Blackwood Mountain 1 year later. A bus-bound Sam listens to a radio broadcast that reveals Beth and Hannah were never found after last year's tragic events.
Something about that mountain seems to breed tragic events.
More than you know, Marty.
Marty there is voiced by Graham Resnick, a sound designer and frequent collaborator of Ty West. He actually cameoed as another radio DJ in West's VHS segment Honeymoon. Resnick co-wrote Until Dawn alongside Larry Fessenden, a fellow kill count vet and staple of the genre. Supermassive brought the two on after the company's British team decided their script didn't match their American characters. Too British? Oh, come on, what did it have? Too much
Freaky Monty Python,
Until
bro.
Dawn was a complicated process. They actually had to create a flowchart to keep track of the game's branching narrative. In addition, they were tied to the game's development schedule and had to start with its 8th chapter. Resnick and Fessenden's final script took 4 years to complete and reportedly ran a whopping 10,000 pages.
God damn.
Like my Trevor's 8 script. Bert goes to Bixby. It's perfect. Sam's in town for a reunion at the Washington Family Lodge, organized by Josh. It's been a tough year for the guy, well, with the missing sisters and all, but now he's ready to...
Party like we're fucking porn stars.
Or maybe deep-faked porn stars from the look of his face. On the way up, Sam runs into Josh's best friend Chris, who is passed out with him in the prologue. Until Dawn's story is purposefully tropey, so its characters are all just walking, talking horror movie archetypes. Chris is the quippy comic relief character who's more humorous than funny, according to his flashy Suicide Squad intro.
Chris is played by Noah Fleiss, who probably got this part from his endless walking experience in Ryan Johnson's Brick.
Oh.
While they wait for a cable car to take them up the mountain, the two pass by an ominous wanted poster for an escaped arsonist named Victor Milgram. It's one of the many clues you can find in the game, which will fill out the lore of various storylines and actually affect later scenes in the game. There's also a makeshift shooting range. Chris gets some points for not shooting a squirrel.
Your ass just got sacked.
And promptly loses all of them for that joke. The cable car arrives so that the two finally get going. Chris recounts a chance encounter that led to his and Josh's friendship, which reminds him of his favorite Ashton Kutcher movie.
Boom.
Boom. Butterfly effect.
The game's butterfly effect system
I love that
is based
movie
on
too.
the theory of the same name.
Ah, yes, like how a butterfly can flap its wings in Peking, and then
Okay,
you'll
Jeff
get,
Goldblum.
sex with me in Central Park.
Not that. But basically, it says that small changes can have huge consequences, which is similar to the way player choices affect the characters down the line. When Until Dawn was a PlayStation Move game, it was just a first-person experience centered on shining your flashlight around the environment. But when it moved to the PS4 and became a third-person interactive movie, Supermassive took inspiration from the game that inspired all horror games.
Say it with me now. Resident Evil!
Five Nights at
multiple
Freddy's?
endings. We catch up with the rest of the group as they make their own way up the mountain. Mike and Emily have broken up, with Emily now dating nice guy Matt, turning him into her own personal bellhop. Meanwhile, Mike's been shacking up with Emily's ex-bestie, Jess, the group's horny blonde whose idea of foreplay is fighting and clipping through the snow. And it gets real awkward when these couples meet again.
You guys gonna make out now?
Oh my god, totally. We're so gonna make out.
Matt lets us know that his real first name must be Door, while Emily goes off to get all face-touchy with Mike. The indiscretion is witnessed by Ashley, who was just looking for some Pikmin. Turns out Ashley's got a crush on Chris, and, well, that's about all she has going for her. Oh, sorry, no. She's also inquisitive. Ashley is played by Galadriel Steinman, who is Gwen Tennyson in the live-action Ben 10 movie. But I'll always know is Cassidy Finch, the girlfriend to that pantsless hero, Axel Heck. God bless you, young man. Matt interrupts with a jump scare that honestly actually got me. He almost catches the long-distance cheating as well, but our player choice prevents him from taking a peek. Yep, a lot of things sure are different from last year, but luckily, some things never change. Chapter 2 takes us to the top of the mountain, where part of the group is reunited with Josh. He's played by Rami Malek, who was just 1 month out from Mr. Robot when the game released. At the time, he was still just that mummy from the night at the museum, or the scarf guy from that last Twilight movie. Of course, by the time this remake came out, Rami had already seen a little silhouetto of a man.
Scaramouche, Scaramouche.
Scaramouche, will you do the...
Actually, it's called an Oscar.
Oh!
Chris pines for Ashley, and Josh gets super weird about it.
She's like a sleeper hit kind of gal, you know? And I just want to rip that Parker right off of her and make some snow angels.
Yeah, sure, buddy. The door to the lodge is frozen shut, so Chris breaks in through the basement. Josh tosses him a lighter in case he needs to burn some Crimson Heads, and wishes him luck.
Godspeed, Pilgrim.
A John Wayne impression, and I thought my references were outdated. On his trek through the house, he finds old memories. Oh, looks like Todd from The Last Man on Earth got to settle down.
And his search for flamethrower deodorant leads him to...
The jump scare Wolverine! Go! For the love of Logan!
The jump scares in Until Dawn are very effective thanks in part to design director Tom Heaton, who set up test playthroughs to measure people's fear response using a galvanic response sensor.
Ooh,
When we have a
clever.
scare that's consistently has a measurable emotional response, then we knew it was good. If it didn't have that, it goes back to the team for improvement.
Chris manages to get the door open, letting in his friends and letting out the jump scare Wolvie.
Yeah, get out of here, you Wolverine.
Hey!
Not
Hey!
you, boy. Unfortunately,
Go
things
Blue!
aren't much warmer inside.
No one wants in on your territory, honey.
Excuse me? Did you say something?
Oh, did you not hear me? Was your sluttiness too loud?
This argument changes based on your previous choices. If you chose to let Matt look through the telescope, this fight happens between him and Mike instead. Josh breaks things up and suggests Mike and Jess go to the nearby guest cabin to cool off. And while we're at it, why doesn't everybody just split up? Chris and Ashley go look for a spirit board to kick off the night's activities, and one of Emily's bags has mysteriously vanished.
And after some berating...
You seriously think I'd forget my bag?
Well,
Do you?
Guess not.
She offers some incentive.
Then we can get warm.
We can get very warm.
Oh, looks like this fetch quest is gonna get you some sex pee. Sam peels off as well to recharge with a relaxing bath. Unfortunately, the lodge's hot water is shut off. Josh takes her to the basement where a baseball bat lays the seeds of a batterfly effect. They get the heat on, but Sam failed the Dead by Daylight generator game too many times, alerting their latest DLC killer, the Fonz.
Hey.
Hey!
I'm just kidding. This portal stage Shadow Priest is just Chris playing a prank.
Ooh, you just got mugged.
Come on, Chris. No one wants some white guy with glasses making puns while they're trying to watch it.
Oh, we love you, Zoran.
Please proceed, Governor.
Sam goes to take her bath, leaving Chris, Ashley, and Josh to get up to some spoopy fun with the Ouija board. Ashley acts as captain, asking if there's any Ouijies in the room. And then one of them decides to say howdy. The ghostly presence claims to be Josh's sister Beth, which freaks him out so much his hair turns white.
Whoa!
Chris in his bizarrely floating hand doesn't buy it. Ashley then probes deeper than an alien on D.B. Sweeney to find out that Beth and Hannah were murdered. And the proof is in the library. Josh's motion capture gets all Planet of the Apes for a second.
Yikes.
Before he storms off, accusing them of punking him. But this Ashley ain't no kutcher, so she heads to the library with Chris, who's hoping to check out a little more than a book. Meanwhile, Matt and Emily, blunt as hell, are wandering the woods, checking out homonym clues.
Is that a butt?
You're a butt.
This section of the game was originally DLC called The Road Not Taken that was only available as a pre-order bonus. The remaster thankfully adds it to the main game, giving us a rare moment of decency from Emily as she apologizes to her boyfriend, which he graciously accepts.
Gotta remember, there's more to this guy than just being a lean, mean, luggage-lifting machine.
Gonna back that up?
All day.
I'm sorry, what was that?
All day.
Matt's played by Jordan Fisher, who's best known nowadays for his work on Broadway, starring in shows like Dear Evan Hansen and Hadestown.
That's
and that
awesome.
weird rom-com bromance version of Moana's You're Welcome. Oh, I see what's happening here. They fucked. Which is what Matt wants to do with Emily right now on this snow-covered table. However, she's more interested in a quick Gom Jabbar test.
Gotcha, Big Dip.
You're no Lisan al-Gaib. The two of them come across a grisly sight.
Somebody made a snowman.
What kind of messed up snowmen did you make as a kid?
Uh-huh.
This Lord of the Flies prop is our first kill added to the count. As a kill count games, we count everything. It comes with a message written in blood on stationery from a nearby prison. Oh, use a pen, Sideshow Bob. They smartly fuck off, while Mike tries to get his fuck on. But it's hard to get to the guest cabin with slow-ass motherfucking Jess in the way. Move! Move! I hate that there's no run button in this game. Another change from the original that at least included a fast walk option. Now characters just randomly run if they feel like it. They head past a Friday the 13th fonted sign, another of the game's many nods to horror movies that can really be seen in all the names of the game's achievements. Oh, Ginger Snaps reference. Nice!
Oh,
He tries seducing Jess by naming his
Didn't realize
favorite
that.
Shaquille O'Neal movie.
Kazam!
But instead of turning her on, it turns her off. The path, that is, where she accidentally falls into an old mine. Well, I hope she didn't hurt herself.
I still have all 7 of my limbs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Oh, 6, 7. He hasn't seen boob limbs since Night of the Demons 2, so he decides...
I can be your hero, baby!
But that doesn't last long. Mike finds a culty shrine to, I don't know, Sweet Tooth? And the shrine is covered in dream catchers, one of the several dubiously aged references to Native American traditions, and Stephen King movies about butt weasels. Mike also finds a wooden totem and some LA Noire wrist rotations, cracks us into a vision of Jess, undressed and in distress. These totems, which can be collected throughout the game and potentially break your character's wrists, give players a sneak peek at possible futures. The totems are split into different categories. Death, which foretells the death of the totem finder. Loss, for visions of other characters' deaths. Danger and guidance, which are all about player choices. And fortune, for good luck. Which, for some reason, this one was? Why? Because Jess took her clothes off? Alright. The remake also adds a sixth type called Hunger, which I won't explain right now because of...
spoilers.
These totems also add some unintended comedy to the game. Like when Matt sees a vision of his death, and then just casually puts it back on the ground. Nope, no questions or reactions here. Just gonna go back to trying to clap cheeks in a snowstorm. The two eventually escape the mine of Morania and continue towards the guest cabin. Along the way, they encounter Murray the Skull, as well as a very injured deer. Mike chooses to comfort it, and I choose to add it to the count, when it's pulled away for an off-screen death. A quick time athlon commences, where that same Predator-Terminator vision from the prologue chases them all the way to the cabin. Oh, you got your breath? Okay, cool. Time for sex. But first, Jess requests a romantic fire. So Mike goes in search of some romantic matches. After achievement hunting for a bit longer, Mike eventually warms things up with a fire. But despite this copy of the straight-up Kama Sutra, Jess ends up with more clothes than we saw in the vision. And yes, I actually made all the right choices to get her to strip down, but hilariously, I just kind of took too long looking at stuff.
It's so cold in here right now, my tongue will get stuck to your flagpole.
Oh yeah, 1 sec, babe. Just looking at our potentially dead friend's tennis photos.
Yep.
Mike is played by Brett Dalton, who I best know as that rat bastard Ward from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And video game-wise, he's the voice of the Witness in Destiny 2. While most of the game's actors were recast when it went from first person to third person, Dalton was one of the few that was retained, alongside the strategically altered mutant who played Chris. Jess is played by Megan Martin, who appeared in the Camp Rock movies and starred in Mean Girls 2. Yes, there's a Mean Girls 2. It is not good. After the most dramatic shutter closing ever,
The Termipredinator returns.
Oh man, why did she have to close the shutters? I bet she's changing character models in there, isn't she?
The couple's PG-13 strip down is interrupted by a crash. It's Jess's phone, which she lost in the chase. Assuming their friends are messing with them,
Like they do, sometimes with deadly consequences.
Jess storms out and gives them what for.
You can't ruin our good time because Michael and I are gonna fuck. That's right, we are going to have sex, and it's gonna be hot.
Yep, maybe don't yell that in a horror movie, Jess. I mean, it's a good way to get violently yanked through a window.
Yep.
Okay.
Usually a death sentence.
Back at the lodge, Chris and Ashley Scooby-Doo it up in the library. Secret button reveals an even secreter hidden room.
Are we like in a movie right now?
If we are, I hope it's a rom-com.
Inside, they find a threatening letter, which implies Hannah and Beth's disappearance was premeditated. An optional cutscene,
not a
complete
rom-com.
with jump cuts, plays as Chris prattles on about all the collectibles he's found, theorizing that an arsonist named Victor Milgram is responsible for killing Hannah and Beth as revenge for being fired by the Washington family. Josh is then heard screaming somewhere in the house, and then Ashley is heard screaming when she's yanked through a door. If you can call that screaming. Chris upsticks his way through the door and is decked by a sweet-looking killer. Oh, I love that design. So glad they moved away from the PS3 version of Baghead.
Jason!
Ashley's also been knocked out nearby, and the chapter ends as she's dragged away. We transition back to Peter Stormare's Dr. Hill, being weird and creepy, well, you know, like Peter Stormare.
Sure.
I love you, Peter Stormare. Have my babies. I only
Ah.
have one. He's yours.
Almost every chapter of the game is broken up with a session by Dr. Sigmund Fargo, who asks us in our Giallo gloves some questions in order to, I don't know, figure out what Disney princess we are? His questions range from if we're more worried about Sarah Jessica Parker or Charlie Day, or who our favorite Batman villain is.
Ooh.
And if we're ever stuck, we can always ask for help.
I know it's a cobra.
This time around, though, it's a March Madness bracket of shittiest friend. Oh, someone's been watching the podcast. It eventually comes down to Emily and me with a faux hawk. And like all good comedians, I do hate myself, but I gotta hate on Emily more. I mean, that's self-care, right, Dr. Hill?
Once again, I'm afraid we're out of time.
What? What do you mean? These sessions are like 5 minutes long. Hey, get back from that window. Don't you fade out on me.
No.
Chapter 4 opens with Mike grabbing a rifle and chasing after Jess. I mean, come on, Mike. Do you really need that rifle when you got those guns? Maybe grab a coat instead. Since we decided to have Mike pursue with reckless abandon, and we didn't mess up any of those QuickTime events, we managed to find Jess in a mineshaft elevator.
Good.
Battered, but alive. If we'd taken more time to get to her, Mike would have been jump scared by her jawless corpse. Something foretold by an earlier totem. But Mike still isn't able to grab Jessica before the elevator gives way.
Jessica!
Mike spots a figure, presumably the man who attacked Jess, and after chasing him down, ends up in the mines again, finding a note that verifies this mine is free of critters. Well, that's good to... Liars! Mike follows a casual stranger out of the mines to a foreboding building.
Jesus. Fuck is that place?
Well, Mike, that is Blackwood Pine Sanatorium, something you would have known if you were playing as Chris earlier. Speaking of which, Chris is coming to from his bonk on the head. He calls out for a better hero.
Ash!
But he's retired in Jacksonville, so Chris follows a concerning amount of blood outside where he's scared by a spring-loaded sweet tooth of the twisted metal variety.
Who would do this?
Well, me, technically, since the dummy's appearance is based on your choices during one of Dr. Hill's segments.
Could have also been a zombie or a Mrs. King sidekick. We can then add another hogshead to the count.
That's all,
Christopher keeps
folks.
walking, eventually finding a shed with Ashley and Josh chained up inside. And if those pig heads or literal giant saws weren't giving you John Kramer vibes, this pre-recorded message will.
We're gonna need one more brave participant to help decide which subject will live and which will die.
In typical Jigsaw fashion, he must now choose which friend to save. And I wonder who Chris, I have a crush on Ashley and not much else to my character Hartley, is going to pick.
Ashley, I'll get you out of this. I won't let you die.
Ooh, sorry, Josh. Thomas the Table Saw then chugga chews directly into Josh's tummy, only stopping briefly to phase out of reality before making Josh half the man he used to be. Cue the kill graphic. Cue the... Okay, editor Sarah, where is the kill graphic?
Looking at the tracking, I think I sent it to the wrong Josh.
Oh no.
What the hell is this?
Oh no! Oh no!
With his trial passed, Chris is allowed to free Ashley and leave. They run into Matt and Emily and do a not great job of explaining the situation.
He said, right in front of us, man.
What are you talking about?
Maniac.
With a killer on the loose, the group decides to stick together. Psych! I'm kidding, they split up. Chris and Ashley go back to the lodge to warn the others, while Mike and Emily go for help. And I really hope that's relationship help. Unbeknownst to them, Mike McClane is on the road to Wellville, finding OBGYN hand totems, and breaking into the super haunted-looking sanatorium. The mystery man enters the building's chapel with a couple of wolfy wingmen. But the door is locked, so Mike goes to worship the god of clues. He finds a sign with some Latin.
Do not read the Latin.
But he does, translating it to a healthy mind and a healthy body. Well, I'll tell you one thing, he's got half of that going right there. Wow.
Zoran, did I just hear you sexually meow at that video game man?
Uh-oh. Ask me about my business, Megan. Mike also finds documents relating to a mining accident that happened in the 50s, as well as evidence of some sort of cover-up. While the mining company claimed all 12 men were rescued, some punch cards indicate at least 30 miners went down that day. And if this crazy boy is any indication, the treatment the survivors got was less than humane. Mike also comes across a save typewriter, but with no ink ribbon, he'll have to settle for a machete, which he shortly has to put to use when a wacky, waving, inconceivable, arm-chopping bear trap gives him a handshake and more white hair. Glitch hair aside, another point of contention for the remake was the choice to switch the game from fixed camera angles, a la Resident Evil, to an over-the-shoulder perspective, a la Resident Evil remakes. This hand trap scene in particular plays out more cinematically in the original game, and presumably the new angle was used to make the game feel more modern and fix movement issues that come with those fixed angles. But sometimes these characters still feel like steering a tugboat. You can pry the trap open at the expense of your machete, but this game's been a little light on the non-animal gore for my taste, so I lop off Mike's fingers instead. In the morgue next door, we discover a not quite human-looking severed head in a jar, as well as Billy Butcherson, who ralphs up a rat, and a key card to the chapel. Mike is still 2 steps behind his quarry, and like 10 supermassive games behind the release of The Quarry. Mike's chapel roaming is stopped by a wolf, but an earlier totem and Sam Rockwell taught me that not all wolves are bad guys. So we make nice with our new buddy Balto. Our good fortune continues as Mike finds some Groucho sticks, proving our mystery man's the one who's been spying on us. Unless it's a mystery duck. Mike also finds some new threads and a new gun. The latter allows him to shoot through a lock, but when he tries the same trick downstairs, he accidentally triggers an explosion that knocks us into the next scene. The masked killer plays Puppet Master as Matt and Emily make their way to the cable car station. They find a very suspicious axe and decide not to let Doc and McCready find it later. We then send Emily inside to open the door, but she just goes all Willie Scott on us.
Oh, Matt, I think there's spiders in here.
Be careful.
Well, it's hard to be careful when it's freaking pitch black, you dip.
Hey, pitch black? Did your cataracts detach or something? There is so much light.
Yes,
which is another point of criticism, as the remake completely changed the game's lighting. The original game was much darker with a cooler color palette, which many say added to the horror and feeling of isolation.
I agree.
Personally, I enjoyed the more realistic lighting, especially the opening that was shifted to a warmer color palette. It makes more sense since the game begins at sunset and nicely mirrors the sense of hope we don't see again until dawn. Emily opens the door, but we're unable to operate the cable car, so Matt smartly suggests the right thing to do is regroup with the others.
You don't know what the right thing to do is any more than I do, Matt, and I say that we should go to the fire tower and get on the radio and call for more help, and that's that.
Never mind, guess we're headed to the nearby fire tower. You know, Matt, you could just push her off right now and no one would know.
Kelly!
Holy shit, he's doing it! Do it! Yes! Mufasa her ass! Of course, Matt's a nice guy and doesn't go through with it. But when they find the cliff Beth and Hannah fell from last year, there's still a chance to be trampled by wildebeests. Emily suggests they go on the offensive, and if Matt complies, he'll get forced off the edge and possibly fall to his death.
Hey, Bromby. Don't listen to her, man.
Yeah, she's so rude, though. But she's a bitch. Matt listens to this intervention, staying calm and passing through this possible reference to the ring, too. I'm sorry, did they just bow? Is he their king now? All right. When they get to the fire tower, Emily finds a flare gun, which we decide to give to Matt. Good call, since a creepy crawly down below triggers the tower's motion sensor. They manage to get help on the radio, but the current snowstorm means rescue won't come, say it with me,
until dawn. Okay.
The creature outside cuts the tower's support cables, sending it and us crashing into the ravine below. Emily ends up on the outside looking in.
And now we can see her and her true colors.
Don't think, you idiot. Just get me out of here.
Okay, you know what, Emily? You're being a real Dickerson. Just let's fucking hash this out right now.
Say you'll treat me like a goddamn human being.
I'll treat you like a person, like a goddamn human being, okay? You're a person. You're a person.
Thank you.
Oh man, that felt good. And with our couples counseling completed, I feel pretty damn good about not letting Emily die. Not that it matters, since she ends up falling anyway. Matt nearly meets the same fate, but he manages to leap to a nearby mine shaft. He comes to a bit later to find out he's on his own. The shadowy figure suddenly attacks him, but he's able to fend it off with a shot from that flare gun Emily gave us. However, in a lot of people's playthroughs, this is where Matt dies, from a meat hook hanging. It's one of the easier deaths to get, since Emily won't even consider giving him the flare gun unless he stays on her good side. And that,
Matt, are you listening?
can be hard to do.
Yes, it
but
can.
at least actress Nicole Sakura is having a good time with it.
I rarely get to play the bitch, and so it was really fun to do that.
And you might recognize her as Cheyenne from Superstore, which is a very different character.
Come on, Amy, it's Christmas. Plus, this will be the first legal thing I've ever done in the woods.
We catch back up with Sam I Am in a bath, who in typical Final Girl fashion has somehow missed everything, including that killer behind her. The disturbance ends the longest tubby time since Debbie's in Killer Clowns. But Sam's gonna be keeping her towel on, since the killer snatched her clothes on the way out.
Not cool, guys. Not cool at all.
At the time of the original game's release, Hayden Panettiere was probably the most well-known member of the cast. She had already starred in TV shows like Heroes and Nashville, the latter of which earned her a Golden Globe nomination. And we've of course seen her on the count before as Kirby in the Scream franchise. Our Lady Bellini follows a path of Pennywise balloons through a few scares, some impressively subtle, and some not so much. Her scantily clad scavenger hunt yields a business card from La Viande Meat Processing, which in French means meat, the perfect place for Grant. Unaware of her unwelcome guests, Sam follows a noise to the lodge's home theater, which features several posters of actual horror movies the game's writers worked on. There's Steakland, Bitter Feast, and Hypothermia that were produced by Fessenden through his independent production outfit Glass Eye Pix.
That's
There's
cool.
also early Ty West films like House of the Devil and The Innkeepers, which Resnick sound designed. That same pre-recorded Bogus Billy begins talking and makes Sam watch the cutscene of her in the bath, as well as the death of Josh. Okay, where did he put the camera for that? And why is Zeke the plumber here? Well, whatever, because it kicks off a slasher chase, positively crawling with QuickTime events. And honestly, I gotta commend the game, because this whole sequence is legitimately stressful.
It
Plus,
really
I haven't
is.
seen a towel this unflappable since Friday 4. Sam nearly gets caught in the basement, but her final inning destination vision lets her take flight in a 180.
Bam!
Oh, don't drop the bat, come on. Sam gets so deep into the basement, it stops being a basement altogether. She's now in the Blackwood Pines Hotel, which was advertised on the poster Chris saw earlier. Seems like the Washington's Lodge was built right on top of it, and it's actually quite easy for Sam to get caught during this chase. For example, if Chris had shot that squirrel in Chapter 1, Sam would have gotten a birdemic wound that would have reopened when she fell to the floor, thus leaving a blood trail for the killer to find.
Yup.
But since we made all the right choices, she successfully holds still and gives the killer the shaft. Another session with Dr. Hill makes it clear his unknown patient is the killer.
Well, that certainly didn't go according to plan, now did it?
Dr. Hill berates us for what we're doing to these kids with some absolutely incredible line deliveries.
What you do and what you say causes things to change.
Speaking of which, his ever-changing office leads me to believe that he may not be real. Also,
Nope.
there's this.
Oh, you want a jump scare? Well, 2 can play at that game, Lucifer. Chris and Ashley return to the lodge to get Sam, but find the place empty. It's at this point that Until Dawn adds haunted house movie to its list of subgenres, with slamming doors, things going bump in the night, and a thankfully less tonguey rocking horse. Chris thinks Ashley is just stressed out, even though he's pulling some phantasms of his own.
But hey, you best start believing in ghost stories, Mr. Hartley, 'cause you're in one.
There! Look there, Chris! You can't tell me you didn't see that! See?
God, I love his dumbass reactions. The
Yes,
dollhouse
me too.
contains a pint-sized portrayal of their poorly planned prank. It also releases Hannah's diary, which reveals Josh had been in therapy even before her disappearance. And now we hit another section that's just finding different things. What do we got? A catalog for projector bulbs, some fake newspapers, timers to control the lights in the house, some scissors, ooh yeah, save those for later. Oh, and there's a board for all the people we hate. Emily, which of course changes based on your choices with Dr. Hill.
That makes
the
sense.
collectible combing ends when they find dead pigs, 8 of them to be precise. They go wee 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 all the way onto the couch. Aw, someone get those pigs some blankets. Ashley turns on a projector.
Why are you scared? You pressed the button. Are you Amish?
Apparently someone transferred one of those early 2000s jump scare videos to film.
Damn, was hoping for that old-timey porn Ted found in Friday. The psycho reference reveals a dummy in Sam's clothing that would have actually been Sam if we'd gotten caught earlier.
But we didn't, so nah. Look out, Chris! He's
no!
vaping you!
He passes out from the ADV while Ashley makes use of those scissors she grabbed earlier.
Stabby, but she winds up losing anyway.
What?
The Lovebirds wake up in another endlessly spinning Saw knockoff. With death literally looming above them, the two finally admit their feelings for each other.
Every second that I spent with you was the only thing I ever wanted to do with my time.
Aw, that's so sweet. Now pick up that gun and shoot her, or, demonetize yourself. Those are his choices. But we go with secret option number 3, which is to do nothing at all. That probably went fine.
Yeah, totally.
Meanwhile, Sam has made her way through the hotel vents and into the lodge's basement, where she finds a couple more clues. Like these plans on how to fake cut someone in half.
That's suspicious.
Or Josh's phone, which has messages from the real Dr. A.J. Hill, who is also Josh's therapist.
That's weird.
Well, that's new.
Sam's search doesn't yield any yimpy post-its, but she does locate a physics-defying snow globe.
Whoa, this is weird.
Whoa!
The many interactables added to the remaster and showcases the roller coaster from the Rush of Blood VR spin-off game. That's just pure nightmare fuel.
Sam's reunited with Mike, who's made it back here via the sanatorium's underground passages. The two catch each other up, and Sam voices some suspicions she's been having.
I think somehow Josh is involved in all of this.
Sam grabs some clothes and meets up with Mike as we sadly say goodbye to Hayden in a towel.
Let's put this scene to bed.
Oh.
I'm into that.
Oh, Mike, is there anything you won't fuck? I guess Jess, but that's because she's probably dead.
Oh,
The two hear some
damn,
screaming in the
blow.
distance, which leads them to Chris and Ashley, alive and at the end of their game. The masked killer comes in to congratulate them, and Chris empties a clip into him, revealing the gun was filled with blanks.
And now is a good time to remind all of you that shooting yourself with a blank will still kill you.
The more you know.
So the question now is, whoever could this irresponsible prankster be?
Oh, Josh!
Which really isn't much of a surprise if you listen to any of the clues collected earlier.
Hello, children. No, that's not right.
And now it's time for the Saw-splanation of how Josh did everything. All that stuff with the ghosts and Victor Milgram were just props and special effects. And an earlier clue revealed that Josh's father directed horror movies, which is where he got his know-how. Looks like Josh muffied their asses, and these
Ooh, fake ad time.
fools fell for it.
Hook, line, and sinker for every little stinker.
I'm just glad that Meat Butcher was so willing to help him out.
Howdy, folks. Have you ever needed a bunch of industrial butcher equipment for reasons you can't disclose?
Oh.
Are you constantly being asked questions like, do you have a meat handling license? Do you own a butcher shop? Why do you need all of this if you don't own a butcher shop? Well, worry no more. Here at Lobby and the Meat Processing, we'll take care of you, no questions asked.
Oh, okay.
We got all your butchering / dead sister revenge prank needs, like dead pigs, circular saws, dead pigs, meat hooks,
More dead pigs.
dead pigs, and this week only, dead
pigs.
5 gallons of pig's blood for.
I don't care why, just take it. So call today, because our meat ain't the only thing we keep under wraps.
Oh, damn.
Cost extra if you live in a fucking mountain.
This little Scaramouche's motivations are obvious. The whole night has been revenge for the prank they pulled on his sister. And listen, I'd be more sympathetic if it didn't target Chris and Sam, the only two characters who specifically did not participate in the prank. I mean, why put them through this? Where was Emily's elaborate saw trap? But I guess who cares? It was all in good fun, right?
I mean, so you got a little bit of egg on your face, right? Nobody got hurt?
Yeah, except for when you kept knocking people out, and there's Ashley's eye and Mike's fingers, oh, and Jess's elevator plunge, which which gets Mike so angry he pistol whips his friend. The boys then lead him outside, where Chris gets revenge for Ashley's uncommon shiner. But Josh remains adamant that he was right.
I made you believe in the world I created. And I showed you parts of yourself you were too afraid to visit.
Yeah, well, so did Kevin Feige, but he didn't hurt me, aside from the Eternals. It's obvious that Josh is kind of losing it, but not acting-wise, as he gives my favorite line delivery.
Sleepover. Can we order pizza?
While they decide on toppings, we check in with Emily, who is literally at the end of her rope, dangling over a non-Ben Reilly chasm. She manages to Cirque du Soleil her way out of danger. She's ended up in the same tunnels that trapped those miners in the 50s, finding mementos from that time that include family photos and, oh, the dead miners themselves. And though we only see 10 skulls, 12 miners survived out of the 30 that went down, which means these miners turn 18 for the count. Emily then comes across someone's living quarters, and horrifyingly, turns out it belonged to Hannah, who survived her fall from the cliff. And if her wall decor is any indication, she was trapped down here for weeks. But hey, at least she had a friend, and oh, no, it's her dead sister, who Emily just stares at for a while. Okay, you know what? Take a picture to last longer. Oh, you did. That's weird.
Yes,
Takes
it
an old
is.
elevator to a higher level, only to encounter the other masked man that's been running around. Emily runs away, but fails to hide from the Cabal cosplayer. And rather than barbecuing her alive, he tells her to go on and get, while he fights off a strange creature. He gives her some flair so she can get a job at Tchotchkes once she's gotten herself out. But first, it's creature time, as we finally get to see this cross between Gollum and Molina. Galena, Illinois, the birthplace of Ulysses S. Grant?
Oh.
Emily manages to make
I
it to
didn't
the
know that.
surface, but is chased by the creatures through some mining equipment. She succeeds enough QuickTime events to escape, but not before being bitten on the shoulder. She takes a zip line to freedom and negates her fall damage using, I don't know, Fortnite rules? She runs back to the lodge where she's reunited with the rest of the group. At first, her tales of monsters are dismissed as part of Josh's prank, but shit gets real when a stranger calls. It's the mystery mountain man that Mike was chasing and Emily met in the mines. The placeholder named Flamethrower Guy is played by co-writer Larry Fessenden, who got this job having written and directed the 2001 film Wendigo. And that's called typewriter casting.
Yes,
he also
it is.
acts, recently having popped up in Maxine. But personally, I know him from the Stephen King short Gray Matter, made by my Chicago filmmaker friend Red Clark. Worth checking out if you can find it. Last year, Flamethrower Fessenden tried to save Beth and Hannah because, according to him,
This mountain belongs to the Wendigo.
which is fitting because Blackwood Mountain is actually named after Algernon Blackwood, who wrote the 1910 short story The Wendigo.
Perfect.
And we can add creature feature to this game's hat trick of horror genres, as the not-so-beautiful stranger explains that any person who resorts to cannibalism in the area will be possessed by the spirit of the Wendigo, eventually transforming them into those spidery Billy Corgans we've seen throughout the game. The Wendigo myth originates from indigenous Northern American Algonquin-speaking tribes, who believe it to be a malevolent spirit, appearing as a gaunt skeleton with ash-gray skin of death, making this game's depictions more accurate than the antler versions we see in recent media, as well as the buffed behemoths that fought Wolverine. The Wendigo myth was very important to many tribes, who believed it was dangerous to even speak its name.
And even the mention of the name will let the Wendigo find out where you are, and it will open you up to be possessed by this Wendigo.
Same thing happens to me whenever I say Bixby.
Go Bixby! Bixby! No pants! Yay!
I crave human flesh now. The stranger suggests everyone hole up in the basement.
I love that that's an ongoing joke.
But Josh is still tied up in the barn. Flamethrower Guy says he's as good as dead, but best friend Chris feels responsible for him. And so Flamey Joe reluctantly agrees to help. And as a parting gift, Ash gives Chris some sugar baby. Aw, groovy. On their way over, the stranger explains that the Wendigo's vision is based on movement. He also says they mostly hunt at night. Mostly. When they get to the barn,
Mostly.
Josh is nothing but a puddle of blood. Oh wow, this Alex Mack reboot went dark. But don't worry, it's no time to die for Josh. As it's later revealed, he was dragged off by a Wendigo. The Flamethrower Guy casually suggests they should get out of there. But despite successfully holding still, it looks like you're next on the count, when a Wendigo's for the head. Chris puts his shooting gallery skills to work, blasting several Wendigos on the way back to the lodge. He's led inside by his new girlfriend. And in the original game, Chris could die here if he tried to shoot Ashley in the death game, which caused her to leave him out in the cold. This was taken out in the remake, though, and I'm glad because it is really depressing.
Sure is.
Fuck! They reunite with their friends downstairs for a good old-fashioned planning scene. Sam thinks they should stay put.
Goddamn plan!
Until when?
Till dawn.
Every time.
He's fine. But Mike wants to go find Josh, in case that
Pizza
arrived, or if he has the cable car station key. Their debate is cut short when Ashley notices the bite on Emily's shoulder. They don't know for sure that Wendigos work on zombie logic, but it's enough for Mike to straight up hold his friend at gunpoint.
This is the safe room, Em.
Please.
It is not safe as long as you're in it.
Holy shit, Mike. Okay, I know it's been a long night, but still. I'm sure some players gleefully gunned Emily down in this scene, but after some careful deliberation, we decided to preserve Mike's innocence and stand down. But here it is for those that want to see Emily killed more. Since it'd probably be pretty awkward now if he stayed, Mike elects to go find Josh on his own, giving them the gun for safekeeping. Ashley starts reading through the stranger's journal and learns that the Wendigo's skin is nearly indestructible. Unless, of course, you're able to set it on fire. That's why those Chris gunshots didn't count as kills. She also learns that the Wendigo's curse can't be spread by bites. So, hey, sorry about trying to kill you, Emily. You understand, right?
Understand the palm of my hand, bitch.
Bam, bitch went down.
Okay! Honestly, I kind of like Emily now. But I do wonder if that messed up Ashley's relationship stats. Oh yeah, you ain't getting a holiday card this year.
Nope.
With new knowledge to share, Sam wants to go warn Mike, so the whole group moves out. A quick session with Dr. Hill reveals Josh is still alive, albeit trapped in the prison of his own mind. We debrief on our actions tonight, but while Hill disapproves, Josh doesn't really show a ton of remorse. But hey, at least we have a ghost hanky. Ooh. Mike gets back to the sanatorium where he finds some Frankenstein repellent and a boomstick, which he uses to prove who the real master of unlocking is.
Hey!
Suck it, Valentine! Since we played nice earlier, Mike gets to see that Wolfie's just fine, but it looks like the rest of the pack wasn't so lucky. We then follow our Akuri Inu around, learning more about that mine accident cover-up. As you might have guessed by now, the 12 men that were rescued survived the cave-in by going all yellow jackets on their buddies. You know, the ones that Emily found in the cave earlier. The sanatorium conducted experiments on the survivors, not realizing they were transforming into Wendigos.
Jesus, hot sauce Christmas cake. This is fucking unbelievable.
You sound like Axel from Friday 4.
Oh, ho there, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to write you up. That's a violation. You are over the limit on Friday 4 references.
Oh!
Wait, but didn't you make me write all these Friday 4 references in here?
I did indeed. The fans love it.
That's cute. $13.
Holy shit!
Oh!
The experiments were overseen by hospital owner Jefferson Bragg, whose mummified body can be found in his office. He left behind a note which reveals the miners escaped in a riot, killing most of the staff. The riot is depicted in The Inpatient, a VR prequel set 60 years prior to the main game. It also features characters like Victor Milgram, the janitor who formed the basis of Josh's slasher villain. Ugh. Horror movies sure do love to vilify janitors. The miners then return in Wendigo form, but Michael keeps them at bay with an action scene.
Michael
Gun
keeps them
noises.
at bay.
A chase
Love
into
that.
the holding cells reveals several of the Wendigos are still trapped behind bars. There's lots of blasting during this section, but I won't count any kills until Mike shoots the makers of Outlast, incinerating 2 Wendigos and sending their souls off to give Freddy some dream powers. A lot of care went into designing the Wendigos. Production designer-director Lee Robinson made sure to reflect the starving nature of these creatures, adding features informed by their environment.
Through sketches and concepts, these elements were visualized, such as eyes being milky, almost dead, with loss of lips and eyelids due to frostbite.
Animation director Jamie Gallipo was responsible for their spider-like movements, and audio director Barney Pratt combined human voices and various animals to create their distinctive sound.
We would layer them up in a multitude of layers, sometimes 15, 20 sounds playing at the same time, to build up the vocalizations for this fearsome creature, which is always in attack mode, hyperactive, and chasing you throughout the game.
Whose sounds were for some reason changed in the remaster. Boo. Mike's good boy decides to peace out as we reach the explosive barrel wing of the hospital. A Wendigo nearly ends Mike, but he puts those barrels to good use and blows the entire room to kingdom come, killing one, but not another. The game then cuts away to reveal Jess is alive, though less booby than our vision predicted. Turns out she survived her ride on the Tower of Terror. Don't forget to pay $30 for that souvenir photo on the way out. But then treats the mines like a thrift shop, popping some tags before fading out. We catch up with the rest of the group, and after a walk that would make the Proclaimers proud, Ashley thinks she actually hears Jess's voice. So our ridiculously high curiosity stat kicks in, making us investigate.
Come on, don't split up. Boo, come on, boo.
Boo!
What are you doing here? Are you living on the Dead Meat set?
Ben kicked me out of the house.
Oh.
My laundry's done.
Ashley
Okay, then.
follows the sound to a cellar door, but stops, remembering a journal entry from earlier.
When they hunt us, they know how to perfectly mimic their prey.
So she leaves, successfully avoiding the absolutely gnarly death animation that would have played the second we opened the door. Oh, look at that goofy mouth.
My dad Ashley.
She rejoins the group as they come across a path to the sanatorium. It pushes most of the group to their vertical limit, but Sam's a climber, as established in an earlier scene that I glossed over because I didn't think it was important. Sam manages to free solo Mount QuickTime, making it to the top to find a couple more totems. One of them is a hunger totem, which I can now reveal are related to cannibalism and the Wendigo transformation that follows. But honestly, they're pretty lame. They're just POV shots of people crawling or, chasing overly white stags in Narnia. Sam also finds a shovel, which she's able to put to good use when she comes across Mike being chased by a flaming Wendigo. She beats the beast off of him, then gives it the full Linda. All right, great. Now you can tell Mike that thing you wanted to tell him.
I was gonna warn you about the Wendigos.
I think I got it.
All that walking for nothing. The 10th and final chapter of the game sees us playing as Josh for the very first time. After his disappearance, an earlier cutscene showed him take a nasty tumble, but he's recovered enough to now be haunted by the ghost of 22 Jump Street and his polar expressions.
You had so many
because he was in it.
about you. Who were willing to help. But at every turn you choose to push them away. And now you're all alone.
This nihilist wants your sanity, Lijoski! And he gets it when Josh witnesses a flesh wall burst open, revealing a pig's head, which then dumps intestines that birth his sisters, and one of them, Barbara, Maitlands her face off. 10 out of 10. No notes. In fact, I especially love Rami's unhinged performance.
Why are you doing this? Leave me alone!
Ooh, that man Ton knows how to act. Sam and Mike are
Sure
having
does.
a walk and talk, catching each other up on the Wendigo lore they've collected. I mean, honestly, look at all these
clues!
And there's more to be had when they find Beth's open grave before hopping into a freezing subterranean lake.
Just keep moving. Nobody likes cold mines. Although yours are great.
Which was an added line to the remake that hints at a Sam and Mike relationship, while also calling back to a previous Chris line.
Oh shoot, nobody likes cold buns.
Upon crossing the lake, they discover a diary that reveals a terrible truth. A starving Hannah dug up her sister's body and had herself a Beth Faye. The act, of course, turned her into a Wendigo, so the two resolve to get to Josh before she does. Behind one waterlogged door are the half-eaten remains of the flamethrower guy. Hi, Larry. Sam peeks through some slats for an easy jump scare, but instead sees Josh. We get to see the reverse perspective of his pig head hallucinating, but Mike very effectively smacks him out of it. Talk about your physical therapy. Some lighting points the way out, so Sam uses her suddenly very important climbing skills to try and find help. We then take control of Josh in this Unreal Engine remake of Super Mario Bros. As he finds a totem that tells them they'll make a fortune from the insurance money. The boys then take the scenic route back through Lake Ballshrink. Suddenly, Mike gets sucked under. Oh, damn undertow. No, wait! Damned Wendigo! Which attacks Josh. And depending on your choices, it could kill him here. However, since we're completionists, Josh recognizes the girl with the butterfly tattoo as his sister. And if you doubt the connection, the game's clue system will beat you over the head with it. The Wendigo that attacked Josh had a tattoo of the same design. Hannah's tattoo is identical
Wendigo in
to
the mine
tattoo
also
of
identical butterfly tattoo. The sibling connection prompts the Handigo to take him away, an act witnessed by a Mike who seems to be hard lemonading in his pants.
We switch perspectives to catch up with Matt, who's been lost in the mine since watching Emily fall to her not death 4 chapters ago. He grabs a lantern and is attacked by Old Man Marley.
Ow!
Oh, sorry, Jess. You know, the other forgotten friend. Matt and Jess are the characters voted most likely to die in this game. This is probably why it feels like they've been quarantined to their own B-plot, which basically boils down to a hide and chase. There's a couple ways to fuck up this sequence, all of which lead to pretty gruesome demises for the two. But I just did this. stay, leaving them to slow walk themselves to the cabin. Meanwhile, Sam Sharma manages to climb out of the mine, where Wendigo screams, "Where'd you go?" chasing her all the way back to the cabin to meet up with Mike. I guess climbing really didn't save much time after all. Inside, they run into the remaining group. Run! Damn, Emily. Okay, I don't know if that relationship meter can go any lower. The group plays a little Squid Game.
Don't move.
But young He, the crazy-eyed doll, is replaced by multiple Wendigos. Just then, the teens get an ally in the form of Hannibal, the cannibal, who joins in for an all-out Wendigo fight! In the ensuing battle, she kills 2 of the attackers, decapitating one and, I guess just palming the other one really hard. The fighting springs a leak in the lodge's gas line, so Mike and Sam telepathically make a plan to trigger an explosion using a broken light bulb and a guitar riff. A riff that did not exist in the original, as the remake redid the entire score of the game. The PS4 version was scored by video game composer Jason Graves.
A lot of people seem to associate my name with scary music.
Rightfully so, as he's the composer behind the Dead Space trilogy.
Oh!
Mystic Moon wanted the remake to stand on its own, so they replaced Graves with Mark Corbin, a film composer known for The Black Phone, The Witch, and Cube, who had never done a game score before.
I tend to steer away from cliche all the time.
Which, honestly, in this case, might have hurt him. The new score is fine, but doesn't stand out, and is definitely subtler, which robs the game of some of its energy, especially during this finale. I mean, just listen to this.
Yeah, that's better.
While you can choose to flip the switch early if you'd like, it will kill anyone left in the building. We managed to hold still long enough for everyone to make their way out. Sam's officially the final girl left inside, making it the cheerleader's responsibility to save the world, by blowing up Hannah and any remaining Wendigos. The titular Dawn arrives as well as a helicopter, as Mike holds Sam's hand, which is yet another change for the remake because the folks at Ballistic Moon are shipping these two hard.
I'm into that.
During the credits, we get a series of police interviews recapping some of our story choices. And I'm sorry, is Ray Romano interviewing them?
Your friend Ashley, she told us she tried to help you.
Dear God, Jess, did you actually survive this? You don't look well. And
No.
after the credits scene reveals Josh has turned into a Wendigo after eating some Larry leftovers. He's discovered by 2 rescue workers, who I'm gonna go ahead and count as Josh attacks them off screen.
Yep.
While this was the only alternate ending in the original, the remake added an option to keep Josh human if you express remorse during your therapy sessions. But to do that, I wasn't supposed to punch him so much. No regrets! The remake begins to think it's Return of the King by adding another ending that they actually brought Hayden back for. This sequel tease finds Sam some years later in sunny Los Angeles, where she's awakened by a mysterious bleeding symbol on her arm.
You don't just find something like that on your arm and not go looking for the answer.
Especially after hearing a strangely familiar voice at the door. Wait, Peter Stormare? Don't you dare title card me! Well, I managed to keep all the teens alive until dawn. I feel like I missed out on some cool kills. So let's rectify that by branching off our timeline for a multiversal murder montage!
Montage! It's a freaking montage, yeah! Kill, kill, kill. I love this song. So much blood.
All day.
All day. Ooh. Ooh. Yikes. Kill, kill, kill.
Once again, I'm afraid we're out of time.
Holy shit, what's he from? I know, I've seen him before. Oh, this is gonna bother me. Minority Report, that's it. He took Tom Cruise's eyes.
So, how many kills did we actually get during this Choose Your Own Death venture? Let's find out and get to the numbers, right after I take care of a little roommate dispute.
Oh, no. Oh, he's got the actual mask! That's awesome!
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Ben, Tim, I hear you're having a little roommate dispute, but you're in luck, because I'm here to help.
Whoa.
Don't worry, I'm professional. What we're gonna do today is play a little game. The way it will work is you have a choice.
Why did you do that? You kicked me out of the house.
You can't just go around shooting people.
Yes, I can.
All right, now.
Ah! Wow, it really turned the tables.
Tim killing me? Anyway, during our time on Blackwood Mountain, I counted 45 kills. The victims consisting of 24 humans, 12 animals, and 9 Wendigos. In terms of gender, that breaks down to 31 men, 2 women, and 12 unknown, giving us a pie that I choose not to eat. So, how did this compare to other playthroughs? Well, while we kept all our characters alive, we didn't get the least amount of deaths, thanks to Wendigo Josh's post-credits double kill. If you manage to keep Josh human and save everybody else, you'll get the minimum kill count of 43, only available in the remaster. For the maximum kill count, you'll want Josh to turn into a Wendigo and get all 7 of the characters killed. It's harder than you'd expect, since Sam can only die during the final chapter and Mike can only die if Sam dies. But if you do manage to do it, that'll give you the maximum body count of 52, which coincidentally is the year the miners all nom-nommed on each other. With a personal playthrough time of 10 hours and 5 minutes, that gave us a kill on average every 13.4 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Hannah decapitating the Wendigo. All their quick spidery movements were awesome, and it just made her look like a badass.
Sure did.
Oh, you're welcome, Hannah. The machete for lamest kill will go to the 2 rescue workers killed by Josh at the end. May they rest in peace in dull machete heaven next to those 2 Nev Caltel workers from Tremors. And finally, the Butchered Butterfly Award for best character death goes to Jess, getting her jaw ripped off by Hannah. No one likes having a stranger put their fingers in your mouth, and even more so than tearing your jaw open and revealing the tongue inside.
Brutal.
I love it. That's it. Until Dawn originally came out in 2015, with its remake releasing in 2024. And after playing it, I get the criticisms, but think the team at Ballistic Moon did a pretty good job. So come on, internet, be a little nicer to them if you can.
Okay.
We'll actually be taking the summer off of Kill Count game releases to help us catch up on these super massive undertakings, returning this fall. So until then, I'm a man who always keeps his finger on the previous page of a Choose Your Own Adventure book, and this has been the Kill Count.
Next Kill Count.
I pulled some strings this week to bring you the movie you've all been waiting for.
Do it for the children.
Or at least the movie I've been waiting for.
You must learn to utilize your talents more conservatively.
We're checking back into the Bodega Bay Inn as we return to the Puppet Master.
Oh, Puppet Master! Okay.
They could not rob me of her forever!
Puppet Master 2 is a better Puppet Master than the original, with way more puppet power. Gone are the puppet POV shots. We're peeping puppets prowling and poking people all over the place. It's pretty primo. We've got old puppets, new puppets, flashback puppets, and these absolute fucking nightmares. Dude, what the fuck?
My God!
Waited for decades.
Plus, we've got more kooky characters, horny kooky characters,
Oh my.
and Andre Toulon as a straight-up Invisible Man ripoff.
Excuse my abrupt appearance.
I shan't. Universal about to sue your ass. This week, Mario
That-
got yourself a copy of Puppet Master 2.
Let's hope this one's a little more normal.
Then meet your Bob Baker maker on the Kill Count, only on Dead Meat.
I'm the director. Do what I say.
Puppet Master
Wow.
2 can currently
Okay, so as I stated, I thoroughly enjoyed this game when I played it way back when. I haven't touched the remaster and all pretty cringy dialogue aside. I love the hell out of this. I got every single ending possible when I played the original way back when. I made sure I got the platinum. I found every single freaking piece of evidence, which took so long to do and so It was so annoying. I had to look up different guides just to make sure I didn't miss anything, because there were times where I did miss them, and then I wasted all that time for nothing, and then I got to go back and play it again. It was a whole thing, but I did enjoy my experience with it. I've enjoyed the Dark Picture stuff, even though they are nowhere near on the level as Until Dawn, but it definitely got me to enjoy The Quarry that much more, especially the inclusion of David Arquette in it, and I don't need to tell you how much I love the fact that he was involved in that project, but I'm sure we'll cover that one in Kill Count Games. Not for a long time, apparently, but sometime in the future. So that's going to do it for me here. Comment down below. Let me know, what did you think about Until Dawn? Please leave a like if you enjoyed. Check all those links I have for you down in the description below. Then lastly, and most importantly, I want to give a huge shout out to all my $5 and up supporters on Patreon. Luchador, Cruising, Wolverine 310, Kester Kronage, Roadrunner 1967, Chris Curtis, Voskophony, Misa, Fleet Street Vicomp, Steffi, Songbird 177, Inkalinquist, MB Cardall, Harmony, 20 Owl, The True Sunny Hero, Satya Maraj, Hot Girl Bum 2, and Flaming Inferno. And if you two like to have a shout out at each and every one of my videos, please head on over to patreon.com/TheDanReactor for more. And I will see you guys next time.